Once upon a time in a place, not too far from here, there was a cat. No, not that cat. This cat. This is a story about this cat. Larry had been lost for what felt like a very long time. Though in reality, it was only about 3 minutes. Larry purred and rubbed against her legs, and she, delighted by his friendly nature, scooped him up and held him close. She walked with him until they reached a house just like his, with a warm, inviting glow coming from its windows, and Larry, feeling a surge of hope, rubbed against the girl's hand, meowing softly. But for Larry, who had never before been separated from his human, 3 minutes felt like an eternity. And as his human stroked his fur, he knew he was home, safe and sound. The adventure had only lasted a few minutes, but for Larry, it felt like a lifetime. And as he curled up on his human's lap, he vowed to never wander off again. The comfort and security of his home were too precious to risk. "Don't speak yet," she said. "It's a secret." And so Larry stayed silent as the girl approached the kitchen counter, opened the cupboard, and took out a can of tuna. Then, just as she had done before, she sat down, patted the counter beside her, and waited. Heidi left his home in search of food, only to find himself in a strange new place, with unfamiliar sights, sounds, and smells. And as the sun began to set, Larry's anxiety began to rise. Where was everyone? Where was his human? Where was the food? This cat's name was Larry, and Larry was lost. Then suddenly, as if by magic, a small girl appeared holding a can of tuna. The girl opened the door and before setting Larry down, whispered something into his ear. And as Larry approached, sniffing the air, a strange thing happened. And when Larry opened his eyes, he realized with a start that he was no longer in the strange house, but back in his own home. The familiar sight of his food bowl filled with fresh water brought a surge of relief, but it was the sound that made his heart skip a beat. His human was home. The world around him began to spin. The room, the house, even the girl, all began to fade away, leaving Larry in a dark, empty space. Confused and scared, Larry let out a yelp. Where was the girl? Where was the food? Where was the warmth and comfort of his own home? Then suddenly, just as abruptly as it had begun, the spinning stopped. Overjoyed, Larry rushed to greet him, purring loudly.